you're here because you want to improve yourself. Maybe you've been tricked before, outmaneuvered, used by people who spoke with good intentions, but left you questioning everything afterward. You're not alone. Because some problems in life never really end, not because they can't, but because someone benefits from them staying alive. That's what this strategy reveals. When people frame themselves as heroes, but their power depends on the threat never going away, what they're giving you isn't help. It's control, disguised as care. What is darkness framed as light? This strategy has existed for centuries. It looks like service, sounds like protection, feels like progress. But it's not. It's when a threat, flaw, or conflict is preserved, so that someone can appear essential by pretending to manage it. This isn't just modern politics or corporate spin. It has deep roots in history, where being needed was more valuable than being right. Let's start in Imperial China, with a governor who fought bandits so convincingly that no one noticed he needed them to stay. Ming dynasty, China, Tinzhou Prefecture, late 16th century. In the remote hills of Tinzhou Prefecture, bandits were part of the landscape. The roads were unsafe, trade routes thin, rebellion ever possible. When Su Renqing became governor, he declared his mission clear: suppress the bandits, restore peace. He filed reports, requested troops, asked for silver from the capital, and year after year he delivered progress. His reports showed small victories, captured rebels, reduced raids, and always a request for just a little more help, but something didn't add up. Villagers began noticing a pattern. The same captured bandits appeared again. Raids always returned, and the violence never fully stopped. Eventually, a court inspector arrived and quietly investigated. What he found was telling. 1. Bandits recycled across provinces. 2. Local officials complicit. 3. The same areas liberated multiple times. Su hadn't failed to eliminate the threat. He had learned to manage it, just enough to stay funded, praised, and seen as essential. The strategy was simple. Keep the danger alive. Frame yourself as the one fighting it. Maintain a cycle you never truly want to break. He wasn't solving the fire. He was tending it, keeping it warm enough to burn through his next budget. That's not incompetence. That's darkness, framed as light. Centuries later, another figure would do something similar, not in the provinces of China, but in the halls of Washington. He didn't just respond to fear. He curated it. United States, 1924 to 1972. J. Edgar Hoover ran the FBI like his own empire. He stayed in power for almost 50 years, across 8 U.S. presidents. How? Because he always had a reason to be needed. In the 1920s, he hunted anarchists, then gangsters, then communists, then black civil rights leaders, then student protesters. Each time the threat shifted. Hoover shifted with it, never solving it, always managing it. Behind the scenes, he gathered secret files on presidents, senators, celebrities, activists. He leaked what he wanted, threatened who he had to, all while framing himself as the last line of defense. He created surveillance programs like COINTELPRO, labeling peaceful dissent as danger. The public believed he was protecting democracy, but inside, Hoover was protecting his position. He didn't eliminate danger. He curated it. He made sure the American people felt just unsafe enough to keep asking for more FBI. That wasn't safety. That was performance. Fear presented as vigilance. Control presented as patriotism. Darkness framed as light. But fear isn't the only tool. In the digital age, the illusion is smoother. It looks like design, feels like convenience, and sounds like care. But behind the tech, the same strategy. In 2016, millions of iPhone users began to notice something. After a software update, their phones got slower. Not just older, frustratingly sluggish. Apple didn't tell them why. Users assumed it was just aging and did what millions always do. They upgraded. But later, it was revealed. Apple had secretly introduced a performance throttle to slow down phones with old batteries. Why? To prevent unexpected shutdowns, they said. To protect the user experience. It was presented as care, but the timing and the silence, it didn't feel like protection. It felt like manipulation. Class action lawsuits followed. Apple settled for $500 million in the U.S. Regulators fined them in France and Italy. But the damage was already done. Millions had already upgraded. Trust had already shifted. And the narrative was controlled from the start. Apple didn't ask you to upgrade. They simply made your device hard enough to love that you chose to walk away. That wasn't innovation. That was design. Quiet, controlled, profitable. You thought you were being helped. You were being guided. That's not support. That's darkness, framed in light. How do you spot this strategy? Watch for problems that never quite end, solutions that never fully work. Heroes who always need just a little more time. Look at what benefits from the ongoing crisis. Ask who stays in power because the threat stays alive. When someone shows up again and again to save you, ask yourself, who benefits if the problem ever truly disappears? Real solutions don't perform. They don't need the spotlight. They don't wear the costume of concern or progress. They solve, quietly, fully, and then step away. But those who need to stay relevant, to stay funded, followed, applauded, they'll keep just enough of the problem alive. They'll frame themselves as essential, helpful, visionary. Sometimes it sounds like safety. Sometimes it sounds like innovation. Sometimes it's customer care. But if the solution never arrives, if the fix always needs another update, if your dependence becomes their success, that's not support. That's strategy. That's darkness, framed in light. If these words have reached you in a moment you needed them most, I hope you'll let them sit with you. Let them take root, not as answers, but as quiet companions. These are more than lessons from the past. They are tools for living, for understanding yourself, others, and the world around you. Take what resonates. Leave what doesn't. Return when you're ready. You don't need to change everything overnight. Sometimes wisdom works slowly, like water shaping stone. Just begin, wherever you are.